Yeah, okay, sir. Yeah. Before we start the presentations, just a quick reminder of the mentors which have been allocated to each country. In case you haven't done so already, please connect with your mentors. There'll be a lot of engagement points with them through this day and tomorrow. So just for your benefit, I'm repeating the mentors for each of the countries so that you can connect with them at your mutual convenience. For Brunei, we have Mr. Jigar Inamdar, who's standing. Jigarji, if you could identify yourself. Yeah. Jigar Inamdar, who's the mentor for Brunei. Sai Kiran, who's the mentor for Malaysia. Sai Kiran is standing at the back of the hall with his hands raised. Ayushi Ketkar for Cambodia. She's on the front row in a blue sari. So if all the Cambodian delegates, please connect with her. For Indonesia, it is Apurv Kumar Mishra, which is me. For Lao PDR, it is Siddharth Singh. Siddharth, you all know, who's been organizing the conference. He's standing at the back with his hand raised. Lao PDR delegates, please connect with Siddharth. For Myanmar, we have Mr. Rajat Sethi. Rajat is on the front row right now with his hands raised. So the Myanmar delegation, please connect with him. Philippines is being mentored by Hamsa Devnani. Hamsa is somewhere in this hall. Philippines delegates will connect with Hamsa. Vietnam is being mentored by Rami Desai. Rami ji is also in the hall. She's in a yellow sari. You will recognize her. Rami Desai. Thailand is being mentored by Anima Sonkar. Anima is on the. Oh, you're here. You connected. Good. And Singapore is being mentored by Shrishti Pukhrem. Shrishti, you all know. She's standing on the side, and the Singapore delegates, I believe, have connected with her. Also, quick announcements. Before we start the presentations, after lunch, we have 3 parallel sessions. Right? So all the 10 plus 1 countries have been grouped into 3 groups. One group has 4 countries of ASEAN. The other 2 groups are 3 countries each. And with each group, there are some Indian delegates who've been attached. The 3 groups will sit in 3 different rooms for the parallel sessions after lunch. Your groups and the rooms that you'll be sitting in is posted outside the hall here on standees. So after the session is over, you can check which group you're a part of and accordingly go and sit in that room. And then we will have parallel sessions in the second half of the day. Please remain with your groups. Each group has delegates from 3 to 4 countries, depending on the size of the group. And those details will be there on the huge board outside this hall. Your mentors will also be with you during the parallel sessions, and they will be conducting some of those sessions. So please identify with your mentors and make sure you reach the correct room for the parallel sessions after lunch so that we can start those sessions quickly. With that, may I now invite the delegation from Singapore to make the country presentation. You have 10 minutes to introduce the country. Can we please have a huge round of applause for the Singapore delegation?
Okay. Hello, everyone. So happy to be here. My name is Carlo.
And my name is Singi,
and we are
from Singapore.
Now, we know Singapore is a small nation. We have a population of around 5.5 million people. And compared to Hyderabad, that's around less than half of what Hyderabad has. And talking about geography, Singapore is located right in the middle of where Southeast Asian countries are. And that gives us so much benefits, which we'll be talking about in a while. And like last night, me and my friends, we just went back and tried to calculate how far we are from Singapore right now. And turns out we are 3,300 kilometers away from Singapore right now. And no matter how far we are, I'd like to really appreciate India's effort to bringing us all together at this one point, talk about all these topics together and just think about a future where we can work for the better. So yeah, I'd like to start the presentation talking about, addressing India first. Like, thank you for this opportunity, and I'll get started. Okay, so I'd like to share with you a small story of how we got our name Singapore. So there's this guy who came to Singapore long time ago. His name is Sang Nila Ultama. And when he did, he saw a lion roaming around somewhere in the land where he landed. So that's where we got our name, basically, the land of lion. Singapura, because in Sanskrit, Singa means lion and Pura means land. And that's really what Singapore is, the land of lion.
Okay, and to break the myth, Singapore actually existed even before Sang Nila Utama reached the land. Okay, where he moving on, he named the country as Singapura. Previously, there was already colonization at Pulau Udong, a small island located at the end of our country. And Singapore was called Temasek back then. Moving on, Singapore's strategic location along the Straits of Malacca allowed it to blossom as our very good trading hub. Evolving to our modern Singapore that we have today, however, it wasn't a very fast-free journey that we have. We took a very great 58 years of resilience to reach where we are today, and it wouldn't be made possible without our founding father, Lee Kuan Yew's vision and his team to build a strong economy for Singapore. He knew that Singapore has limited land and resources. Agricultural activities weren't possible unlike so many other Asian countries, which is why we actually invested heavily in our local talents to give proper education and exposure to our people, which can further attract foreign talents to come to Singapore to contribute to our economy as well. To move on, another milestone is our trading ports. Tapping onto our strategic location along the Southeast Asian region, where we are no more than 6 hours away from the Southeast Asian countries, we have become one of the world's busiest ports. One of the current ongoing initiatives are our Tuas ports in Singapore, which is going to be our world's largest fully automated port by 2040. Next, another project that we are also working on is to build Singapore into a smart city. This Smart Nation initiative is basically to integrate technology so seamlessly into our everyday life when we play, eat, and sleep. And then people will be more empowered to live meaningful and fulfilled lives.
Can we have the slides fixed first? Sorry.
Thank you.
All right. So
Okay.
so far we've been talking about how beautiful and how developed Singapore is. But I think there's one thing that's very important to what built Singapore in the first place, and that's our social fabric. Now, if you look at our table where the Singapore flags are, you can see my delegates and my colleagues where there's so much ethnicities where we are sitting right now. There's Indians, there's Malay people, and there's Chinese people. And this really shows that what Singapore has done for the multiracial society is very important, and it's a big accomplishment. And we were very proud to have that and showcase it wherever we go. On top of that, we also have 10 official religions. You can see over here this picture. This was taken right before the F1 event. And mind you, F1 is a worldwide scale event. And bringing all these leaders from 10 official religions all the way before the event even started shows how dedicated we are to respecting each other's traditions and our religions as well. Now, we also celebrate other traditions also. We celebrate Diwali, Chinese New Year, Hari Raya, and Christmas. And these are also public holidays. So this shows that we are not only celebrating our own race holidays, but we can even celebrate other people's races holidays together. And I think that one of the most exciting things about where all the traditions and cultures come together is where the food merges. Because this is very nice, just think about one place where all the aromas, tradition, and all the taste just comes in together, and you just enjoy whatever it is and explore all the foods available in Singapore.
And to celebrate our food, we have our hawker culture. So, hawker center in Singapore is actually listed as one of the UNESCO sites. Then, when people go there, we are able to enjoy a variety of food delicacies. Moving on. So, where do Singaporeans live? Singapore residents live? as y'all can refer to this, our residents live in mansions and villas. And if y'all can refer, for some, if y'all have watched the Crazy Rich Asian movie that we have, you're able to relate to how lavish of a lifestyle that we live. I'm just joking. Yes? Yeah. So actually, right, this is where most of the residents live. 80% of the Singapore residents live in HDBs. Yeah.
So while everyone is living in peace and like sleeping well, we hold the obligation where like we had to protect Singapore and what we have built. And that comes down to the responsibility of every Singaporean male in our country. That comes down to our 2-year mandatory national service where we have to serve for our motherland. I have done this. I was part of the infantry. You can try to find me in this picture if you can. And then my friends have done it. Eugene over there was part of the Navy. And also Habib was part of the SCDF. SCDF is the life-saving force. So there's 3 categories under SCDF that I just want to share with you. There's paramedics, the rescue disaster, and the firefighting force. And just to share, Singapore sent 2 teams recently to the Turkey earthquake disaster. And that just shows how willing we are to operate with international collaboration and help them whenever they need us. Now, I want to talk to you about the future of Singapore, because I think this is very important, but at the same time, it's very exciting. The first thing is our transportation, because this is really cool, it's one of the coolest things about Singapore for me. And for a small country like Singapore, you can see how much MRT stations we have. These are just train stations. And the thing is, we don't even plan to stop here. We plan to build even more. So there's going to be 140 MRT stations in just a tiny nation. And it's just really nice thinking about it, because Singapore wants a MRT station 10 minutes from your house, no matter where you live. And that's a big vision. And I'm just really excited to see a country going this deep into understanding people's needs and giving them what they need. Next, I want to talk to you about the Singapore 30 by 30 goal. So right now, Singapore is able to produce around 10% or less of the produce that we can eat and the food that we can consume. And it's an ambitious goal that Singapore wants to increase this to 30% by 2030. It's a big one, and I can tell you so many people right now are working really hard on it right now. And finally, let's talk about infrastructures. We're working on one of the world's biggest ports right now, and that's at Tuas. And we're working with reclaimed lands. So that means we're working with resources and opportunities that we can make the most of what we have. And it's done through technological and advancements and the possibilities with partnerships as well. Forward, we can work with, we're also building Changi Terminal 5. And for people who have been to Changi Airport, know that it's very beautiful. And it's one of the best airports in the world. And to imagine the scale of Terminal 5, that's equal to Terminal 1, 2, 3, and 4 combined. That's how big it is. And when it's done with construction, Changi Airport can serve up to 150 million passengers yearly. That's big. Now, we know all the infrastructures, partnerships, technological advancements, and everything, it's not really a big deal for Singapore unless we work with countries like ASEAN partners and India. And especially for India, for bringing us all together and for boosting and enabling us to share our projects, visions, and the future with everyone here. I'd like to thank you so much for it. And we'll end the presentation by saying,
Nandri,
Shisia,
terima kasih, and thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Thanks for a fascinating presentation. There's so much to learn, especially on the infrastructure side for a lot of other countries. May I now invite the delegation from Thailand to make their presentation. Huge round of applause for the Thai delegation. Best of luck.
เงอเงอชาเงย
Ngai la cha ngai.
Welcome to Thailand, the land of smile. If you want to know Thai, please come, please come.
We have street food in all the time. We have street food in all the time. If you hungry, come to Thailand. Dai.
Fourth sector, the part of Thailand. Fourth sector, the part of Thailand. If you want, if you know, don't mind, don't mind.
Thailand, ASEAN and India. Thailand, ASEAN and India. Come see and hear, we're telling you why.
Asia, Asia, cha 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 cha, noi ne.
So now, thank you for our performance from the Thai team. So I would like to begin our presentations now. So first of all, if we mention about Thailand, what do you think of? Horror films, nightlife, street foods, or nice beaches, or floating markets, right? This is pop up in your minds. But the main thing is, a lot of country will talk about Thailand. We think about this. The clickers isn't moving. There you go. In the Indian movie, right? The new one from Netflix. They talk about Thai massage. They're talking about like nightlife. But for our presentations, we will bring more and more interesting things. Okay. First of all, basic information about Thailand. Bangkok. Actually, every time we mention about Bangkok, it sounds funny. So we don't want to bang anybody. To be honest, we don't bang to anybody. That sounds so aggressive. So this is full names of Bangkok. It's กรุงเทพมหานครอมรรัตนโกสินทร์มหินทร์ If I say it's full names of Bangkok, it will spend like 30 minutes anyway. So if want to try it, we can try it later anyway. So first of all, we are constitutions, monarchies. The head of government is prime minister, is called Prayut Chan-o-cha, and population approximately is about 70 million now. And head of state is the king. And also, see, so Bangkok is the name. Actually, Bangkok is the productions of the colonizations, to be honest, because the English, they call, actually we call Bangkok, is not Bangkok, it's Bangkok. Everyone say Bangkok. Thank you for kind attention. Clap your hand to yourself, clap your hand to yourself. Okay, there you go. So we call Bangkok, Bang is mean village. Kok is came from olive tree. So that's why Bangkok. But actually, nobody know Thais. We call it Bangkok. We call it กรุงเทพ shortly. Anyway, so we talk about Thailand. We know some cuisines. We have a lot of variety of tasting, such as like spicy, sweet, and sour, something like that. And each different part of Thailand, we have differences of tasting, like from north, from south, from the central, or from Isan or non-eastern Thailand, very totally different. So talk about Thailand, also the tourist destinations, like we have a lot of UNESCO World Heritage things, and also a lot of beaches and natural heritages. For example, we have a lot of heritages, such as cultural heritages, such as that mentioned by UNESCO. For example, Ayutthaya, historical parks, historical towns, Kotai, ทุ่งใหญ่นเรศวร ห้วยขาแข้ง natural park, and also บ้านเชียง archaeological sites, and ดงพญา and many more. So this kind of things that it create a lot of understanding. But you know that you see a lot of places, right? It's a lot of things that we derive from Indians, indeed, right? It came from Indians. So how it's come to that? So let's see. So we bravely enough to say how Indian cultures later on, Thainizations or the Indian cultures. So we're talking about the first thing. First, you can see a lot of millet things, Brahma, so many things that's related to Indians. So how did Indians influence Thailand? First of all, before that, we believe our social structures is based on animisms. You know animism? Like we believe in Pi, Hantu in Malay, right? Hantu, I'm pronounced this correctly? Okay. Hantu or Pi or something like that. And later on, we believe in animisms, and we also believe in kind of the ideas of matriarchy. So we believe that women is the leading roles of the societies. And also we have a basic knowledge of bringing things. But later on, we accept a high culture from India through trade, right? Due to the geographical locations, trade route, and pilgrim routes. You know a lot of monks from China, such as I Ching or Sun Zhang. They came into that, they have to take course, Sanskrit course in Sumatra before you go to India. You have to take course for language course first, and then you go to India anyway. So what did Indians culture change our identity? First of all, we're talking about like its inspirations, like especially Buddhism and Hinduism. Its influence on governance, societies, and arts. So let's see what's kind of like, for example, kingships, Buddha Raja, or Buddha Raja in Thai, is a idea concept of like how to be the good kings, how to be the good king like a Buddha. And also, we also have some kind of national emblems. You can see like Garuda, it came from Hindu, right? Because Garuda, right by whom? Vishnu, or Panalai in Thai, is a god of the lords who descends to the world. He's an avatar of the king. So a lot of things like such as languages, where we got how do we write is Palawa script. So a lot of Bari Sanskrit my names. For example, like many provinces, we got the name from the Sanskrit word. There's a province named Pisanulok. Can you guess what Pisanulok means? Vishnuloka, the land of Vishnu, or the world of Vishnu. Or when Suchat, the name of the Thai, one of the Thai guys, people. Su is mean good in Sanskrit. Chati means nations. This kind of things like derived from Indians in the past. And also architecture, you can see, right? We have some kind of architecture we developed from the Indians and passed to Khmer and then changed into Ayutthaya style and to Thai style. You will see we have shared similar developments together. And next, clothing, you can see sari and sabai. In the Philippines, it's all called sabais as well, right? Sabai, the one that is a clothing. And also a lot of ASEAN countries also have this kind of clothing and of design of the textiles, also influenced by the Indians. And also Ramayana, of course, we have a lot of things that appears into the performance to become a part of the Thai societies. So a lot of ancient kingdom is not just only Thailand, many places especially in the mainland Southeast Asians and some part of maritime Southeast Asians are also influenced by the Indians. But however, the game changed. How Indian culture has assimilated to Thai cultures later on. So have you ever heard about Mutelu movie from Indonesia? If you have heard it, you are not young anymore because it's 1980s anyway. So Mutelu become a very teenage word. Its main belief is a belief of horoscopes, worship of deities and whatever. So it's mean like a magic, right? So this word was derived from one of the Thai stars, something like that. They got these words and it become viral into our societies. So it's derived from the movie called Mutelu. It's about the dark magician. So we adopt that kind of things. So for example, a lot of things that we got from Indian concept, right? For example, the amulet. You know amulet, right? The Buddhist amulets, right? Actually, Buddha never taught us to have an amulet. We believe in the philosophy things, right? But now it's changed into the animism. But we feel shame that if you use animism, so we use Buddha cross over to transform into our own amulet, something like that. And it become recognized internationally. You know, in Malaysia, in Singapore, in hawker centers, if you notice, some auntie and uncle, they will have some kind of big Buddha from Thailand. They're wearing some kind of amulets on their necks, something like that. So it's the business of amulets. So it's called Mutelu industry. I would like to say it's a new term anyway. And the next thing is sub-god. You know Brahma. Brahma is almost forgotten in India. But in Thailand, it became very famous, more than any other gods. Even now, Chinese people recognize as a Thai god. They name it Man Gu Sư Mian Pho. Sư is mean four, Mian is mean face, Pho is mean Buddha, which is not related to Buddha anything, right? But it changed to Thai, it's transformed to Thai forms. So it's like the lost Hindu god in India, but recognized as a Thai god. Anyway, if you ask Chinese people, oh, we thought that it's a god from Thailand, but it is not. It came from, originated from India. Okay, another thing, you know, Shiva. Everyone knows Shiva, right? This god is always mistaken. We call it Trinamurti. But actually, Trinamurti have three, right? Have three, right? Have three. But this guy is only one, right? So we call him Trinamurti. But actually, this is Shiva, Sattha Shiva, or Shiva Panchamukhi. They have 5 faces. It's the full form of Shiva. But Thai people recognize as the god of love. What happened? We worship him during Valentine's Days. Even Tinder, you see Tinder? You guys have Tinder account? Come on, man, come on. You can do that. Okay, even Tinder has this kind of like events, right? So we bring a flower to Shiva. Actually, Shiva was the destroyer of Kamatev, right? According to the legends. But it become recognized in the Thai style now. So last but not least, right? We're talking about Brahma, we're talking about... So the fourth ASEAN Youth Summit, I hope that this will promote the mutual understandings between us. So a lot of, you know, ASEAN is a lot of things, we have a conflict, especially we have a lot of drama, things happen recently, right, between many countries. So Indians, as a, I would like to say is a, what to say, to like a mother of cultures that inspires. I think it's a good event that create a mutual understandings and bring us together and exchanging the ideas and meanings of what is the ASEAN identity, you know, right? Because now when we're talking about, we're discussing about what is ASEAN, right? We're talking about economics, we're talking about politics, we're talking about like state-to-state relations. But the main thing that we already forgotten, what is that? It's the people-to-people relations. So ASEAN basically nowadays is the body without soul. What do you mean by body without souls? It means like it's have the structure, but the people still conflict. So this summit, I hope you guys get along each other and think it, we have a sharing development in terms of cultures that derive from India's and change in our own. I don't want to say this, India have to take all the credit from this kind of developments, but I would like to say we have a sharing development. So thank you for your kind attention. Last but not least, because Thai people, we like to sabai, you know the words, right? It's been easy going, so we have some kind of activities. Okay, music. Thank you for your kind attention anyway. Okay. Music is import from Thailand, so it takes time. Maybe the flight is delaying. Sorry. It's coming. Hey! You may dance with us. Come join us. Come on. Everyone stand up, please. Stand up.
November full moon shines like a tongue, and the water's high in local river and song.
Hey!
Like a tongue is here, and everybody's full of cheer. We're together in the fun.
Your Excellency may dance with us. Terima kasih banyak Indonesia, orang Indonesia. Okay, thank you. That's enough. Thank you for kind attention. So we hand over to the MC now. Thank you for kind attention. Thank you.
What a fun presentation. Thank you for a very insightful and a well-researched presentation. I don't know about you, but all that dancing has made me hungry. And since we are very close to lunchtime, it has been suggested by the organizers that we do the Vietnam presentation, which is the next presentation, as the last presentation for this session. And then the last three country presentations, we do them tomorrow around the same time. We have a slot for the next 3 country presentations tomorrow because we have reached very close to the lunchtime. So for the final presentation of the session, may I invite the team from Vietnam. Please give them a huge round of applause. The clicker, the team from Thailand, if you have a clicker with you, can you just... Oh, you don't need it.
Hello.
So,
Or in
greeting
Vietnamese,
everyone.
xin chào. Yeah. The technical team, can you play our video, please? And please lower the volume a little bit. Yes, start playing.
Okay. So, greeting everyone. My name is Tu, and that is Miss Thúy. We will represent our team to present about our beloved country, Vietnam, a friendly and lovely country to all. So, Vietnam's name is Socialist Republic of Vietnam. It's located at the eastern edge of Southeast Asia with an area of 311,000 square kilometers and a population of 99 million, making it the world's 16th most populous country, and 73% of the population have no religion. Vietnam borders China to the north and Laos and Cambodia to the west. Its maritime border with Thailand to the Gulf of Thailand and the Philippines, Indonesia, and Malaysia in sea.
Vietnam has been inhabited since the Paleolithic age. Since 112 BC, the Han Dynasty annexed Vietnam under Chinese rule for 1,000 years. Then successive monarchical dynasties expanded the country until the Nguyen, the last imperial dynasty, who surrendered to France in 1883. Following the August Revolution, the nationalist Viet Minh, under the leadership of Communist revolutionary Ho Chi Minh, proclaimed independence from France in 1945. The Vietnam War began shortly, and in 1975, Vietnam reunified as a unitary socialist state under the Communist Party of Vietnam in 1976. And that is the position of Vietnam.
A developing country with a lower middle income economy. Vietnam is not least one of the fastest growing economy of the 21st century. Vietnam is one of 25 countries considered to possess a unique high level of biodiversity. It is ranked 16th worldwide in biological diversity. Vietnam is mostly a people with 54 ethnic groups from the northern mountain hill tribe, such as the Hmong or Thai, to the Cham, also present in Cambodia and Malaysia. And of course, the King, the Vietnamese ethnic group who are in majority. Vietnamese cuisine has always a coverage of diverse tastes, from authentic flavor to influence from neighbor country, with various fresh ingredients, herb, and cooking methods. Food and drink in Vietnam give surprisingly unique taste and out of the world dish to indulge in. Vietnam is the second largest producer of rice in the world.
On the screen, you can see the process of rice production in Vietnam.
Adapt a lot of new technologies.
Vietnam is a unitary one-party socialist republic, one of the 2 communist states in Southeast Asia. The president, as you can see on the screen, is the elected head of state and performing executive functions and state appointments and setting policy. The general secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam, who you can see on the screen, performs numerous key administrative functions controlling the party's national organization. His name is Nguyen Phu Trọng. And the prime minister is the head of government, presiding over a council of ministers composed of deputy prime ministers and the heads of 26 ministries and commissions. The footages that you're seeing on the screen were captured during his visit to Singapore and Brunei Darussalam just recently. Thank you. The National Assembly of Vietnam is a unicameral state legislature composed of 500 members, headed by our chairman, with all government ministers being appointed from members of the National Assembly. On the screen is the chairman of the General Assembly of Vietnam. Next, I want to talk about Vietnam's foreign policy. Vietnam's current foreign policy is to consistently implement a policy of independence, self-reliance, peace, cooperation, and development, as well as openness, diversification, multilateralization of international relations. Vietnam is a friend and partner of all countries in the international community, regardless of their political affiliation, by actively taking part in international and regional cooperative development projects.
Young people account for large share of labor force with nearly half, 49.5% to be honest, between 15 and 39 years old. And the obligation of the state, society, and family is to create favorable conditions for the study, work, and recreation of young people, and for the pure development of their intellectual faculty and physical fitness. In Vietnam, youth participation is commonly understood in terms of volunteerism. The Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union and other youth organizations receive funding from the state budget for their operation and are major agent for youth mobilization. Youth Union is present at every level of state administration and had membership of over 7 million in 2022, accounting for 28% of all young people aged 16 to 30. Vietnam calls for strengthened international cooperation in youth, promotion of the role of regional organizations, including sharing ASEAN experience between ASEAN member states and friendship countries such as India and young people, enhancing the pioneer role of young people in preventing and solving conflict, building peace, and dealing with global issues such as climate change and the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you for listening to our presentations. As I previously mentioned in the presentation, one of Vietnam's key export is rice. However, beside that, Vietnam also has a very famous product, which is coffee. Today, the Vietnamese delegation come to this summit with a little gift, which is Trung Nguyen Coffee, which is a very famous coffee brand in Vietnam. And we would like to deliver each delegation here a friendly package of Trung Nguyen Coffee. And my fellow Vietnamese delegates, can you please deliver our gift to our fellow delegation? Thank you. And on one more note, we would like to thank the organizers of this summit, because ever since we came here, we have been greeted with nothing but love and support. And you guys, the summit has been amazing so far. It has brought ASEAN delegates together, and we really appreciate your efforts. Thank you.
So we do hope you will enjoy the coffee, and we would like to welcome you all to our beloved, beautiful country one day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Food, coffee, and dance. What a wonderful morning to start our second day of the ASEAN Summit, ASEAN-India Summit. We now break for lunch and reconvene after lunch for 3 parallel sessions. The parallel sessions will happen on the first, second, and the third floors. All the delegates, including the Indian delegates, have been divided into 3 groups. So let me just quickly announce the groups which will sit in one room for the parallel sessions after lunch, so that we can ensure that these sessions start on time. So immediately after you finish your lunch, go to the room allocated to your group and wait there for the speaker to come and start the session. You remain seated in that same room. The speakers will keep changing depending on which slot has been allocated to them. So for all the 3 parallel sessions that happen today and tomorrow, you sit in the same room. Group 1 has 4 countries. Brunei, can you raise your hand? Malaysia, Cambodia, Laos. 4 of you are in group 1. You will go on the first floor after lunch, and you will remain seated there for both the parallel sessions today and the third parallel session tomorrow morning. So group 1 is Brunei, Malaysia, Cambodia, and Laos. You will go to the first floor after lunch. There are some Indian delegates also who've been attached to group 1. The list of Indian delegates in group 1 is outside this room in the hall. So please check your names. If you are in group 1, you go to the first floor. Group 2 is Indonesia, raise your hands, Myanmar, and Philippines. Right? The 3 countries are in group 2. You go to the second floor after lunch, and the direction to all of these locations is given right outside this venue. You can find them. The volunteers will assist you. There are again some Indian delegates who've been attached to group 2. Please see your name outside the hall and go to the second floor after lunch for your parallel sessions. Group 3 is Singapore. Singapore, raise your hands. Thailand and Vietnam. The 3 presentations we had today in the morning. The 3 countries are in group 3. You will go to the third floor after lunch and remain seated there for the 2 parallel sessions we will have for the rest of the day. Right? Some Indian delegates again are attached to group 3. Please see your names, and Indian delegates should go accordingly to their respective groups. So group 1 on the first floor, group 2 on the second floor, and group 3 on the third floor. But before you do that, make sure you try the delicious food we've served you outside. There's so many photos you've seen. I'm sure you're hungry. So have some Indian food. There is also some coconut water, which is a traditional Indian delicacy, which is being served outside the reception. So maybe after you finish your food, it's a great digestive. Go and have some coconut water outside the reception. And those of you who need any assistance for the open mic, which is scheduled today evening, Nawang, my colleague, is here. I'm sure most of you would have met her. Any help you need for the open mic today evening, please reach out to Nawang either right now or during the lunchtime. Right? Thank you. Have a good lunch, and we'll see you for the parallel sessions post-lunch. Thank you. Lunch is served outside this hall. Please join us for lunch.